All right, casual sit and chats continue. You can see who we've got next. Bella Ortiz is in here. We're a couple hours out from going to lunch before we get over to the gym at Grand Canyon, and Bella's kind enough to sit down and chat. We were trying to schedule this earlier and couldn't be able to do it. So Bella, thanks for being willing to sit and chat today.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
All right, got a whole set of stuff I want to get you through. But first, if you had to kind of think back, first 2 years, what are kind of your signature memories so far as an athlete? What are one or two memories that you have about playing here at SFA that have so far been like the crown jewel moments?
I think, winning our conference last year was a lot of fun. That tournament was just so hard and hard on the body, and I'm really excited to go through it again. I'm excited to play tonight, and I feel like every day is just a really fun day. Like, I can't name more than one game, I feel like, where I've had just like, oh, this was amazing. Because I feel like most games are like that.
Yeah. When you finished last year and the season was over, NCAA tournament was over, semester was over, and freshman year's in the books, what was the biggest takeaway for you? What do you think was the number one thing you learned as a freshman?
I feel like I may have taken my freshman year for granted. The spring season was really hard. Mentally, I was really struggling. I was so excited for season to be over, and I remember like going into my end of the year meeting with my coaches, and they were asking me some personal questions, and I was like, I can't answer those. Like, I was going through a really hard time, and I think that kind of clouded all of the positives that I felt during my fall season. And so that's why I feel like I may have taken it for granted, is that I only really focused on all the negative aspects of my freshman season, how it had ended, who had affected me, and I felt like I wasn't a very successful person. And like, as soon as I got home, talked to a lot of people about how I was feeling, like spent a lot of time by myself still, but it was, that summer was perfect for me to grow, just work out every day and kind of like build myself from there. Because even though some people may have seen my freshman season as really successful, like I was really struggling, I feel like, myself.
Man, that's a really honest answer. And there's one thing in that I really want to come back around on, and that is, you said you spend a lot of time with yourself. And that's just, in my whole life, that's been something that when I've gone through periods like you just described, that kind of self-reflection's always been a big deal to me. You're somebody who's always got a smile on your face and always at the center of what we do as a team. But then I thought that was a really honest answer in terms of self-reflection. When you had those times where you were kind of by yourself, that is kind of able to kind of clear your mind and kind of push things away.
I thought it forced me to deal with some hard self-reflection questions that I really pushed off during the season that I didn't want to deal with, because I mean, in reality of it, I wasn't taking care of myself, and it was really showing off. And then I still prioritized volleyball. That was still first, but then it wasn't like my school, my relationships with people, that became really strained.
Yeah, wow, what a sincere answer that is. 110 blocks in 110 sets as a freshman, and now 128 blocks. We've got to start. We got at least several matches left, and if it gets close to 140, I'm going to have to start looking up top 10 all time at SFA for a season. So 238 blocks and not even halfway through a career. How do you separate personal goals from team goals?
Personal goals and separating them from team goals are really hard. I haven't shared this with anyone, but I had been really into stats this season, just kind of checking in, because I write down my personal goals for every game. I want 12 kills for myself, and I want 6 blocks. And if I don't get 12 kills, then I want to hit over 500%. I want 2 kills. I want 2 aces. I want 2 digs. Like, I write these things all down.
Wow.
And I was explaining to my mom, like, I feel horrible if I don't get these goals. Like, a lot worse than I probably should. And then I don't think Debbie remembers this. I mean, it was just a comment she made, but like after the Seattle game, I mean, I didn't do anything great. I was just kind of there, like, we were feeding our right sides and our pins because that was the game plan. But I wanted to read the stat sheet, and she was like, "You always just read the stat sheet, Bella," or something. And I was like, oh, I do. I don't. I mean, I don't want her to think that I'm competing with anyone on my team. I'm competing with these individual goals that I have written for myself, and that kind of opened up, like, well, maybe I should, dial it back, because I don't want anyone on the team thinking that I'm trying to like beat them. I got these own goals for myself, But
yeah, that man, this is already so interesting because sometimes since that's my penchant is to keep up with numbers, and in part it's my job to do that. I sometimes think the exact same thing. Like maybe I should dial it back with giving players information. Is it analysis paralysis when you're constantly telling players what they are and aren't doing on a box score? And that's what Cam and I talked about a minute ago. Is your group, sophomores, 51-8. You've had a tremendous amount of team success, and there's always that balance between what you're doing personally and what you're doing as a team. Let me get your thoughts on the senior day that you just witnessed with all your teammates. There were a lot of gals out there, but give people an idea about the friendships that are built with those of you that are younger players, with those that have been here 4 or 5 years.
Well, senior day is always hard, and I never thought about how we have an older team. So there's Audie, Alon, Bork, Haley. Those are 4 girls that take up the court out of the 6 people playing. And they're just amazing people to be with on and off the court. I can't stress that enough. Like, they're there for me. They hold me accountable, which I think is even more important. And they're just good people, and that's hard to have. It's actually really hard to have really like a healthy relationship and bond between, I feel like, upperclassmen. Not healthy, but there's like a class, but they make you feel included and loved. So I like that.
Yeah, I think I sense that, and I think I've sensed it more as the season's gone on. Let's talk a little bit about things maybe that people that would watch this video and people that don't know the insides of what you do and what the team does on the road. What do you get a chance to do today? Breakfast, come in here, film, practice, but you have videos that Evan sends you, or you have sheets that D-Hump is prepared that have breakdowns of players. Let people know about those things. Like during this break time and this morning, like you said, you write these things down. There are videos that are positionally created for you as a blocker, and there are assignments that you have that we go over. Just talk to the public about all that behind the scenes stuff.
Well, for me, I have to watch film, like even outside of Evan's videos, if I want to have a good blocking game. Like if I don't figure out where I need to have my hands positioned, who is more likely to get the ball, and I feel like that's more important too. This morning I just woke up early, and I always get up a little early, and I went and had breakfast, and I try to watch like a full match of the game, of the next team's most recent game. So GCU was just playing Tarleton, and I was watching their game, and just seeing like their attitude, how they're playing, how they're talking to each other, what they're running, why they're running that, and then that kind of makes Evan's stats make more sense, because it just, I don't know how to explain it better than that.
No. So I think what you're saying is that there's a lot that you're doing on your own that kind of dovetails with the things that we see sort of in an open film session.
Yeah, because I think we all do our own film on our individual, what we need to do, and then he sends kind of like a team goal on what was going to work to make our defense and offense better, more fluid against their team.
This last topic you've kind of already addressed, and it's a little bit loaded, but I want to kind of go back into it. Some players, they're let it go types, and I think by your own self-admission that you're kind of a dwell type. You set the goals. What do you think though are both? I mean, there are positives to that. So what do you think are both the positives and the negatives of being the kind of athlete that, hey, I have these goals, we won, that's the ultimate thing, but I didn't hit personal goals. Well, that being hard on yourself, which I think some of us have seen. What's good about it? What's bad about it?
The good thing is that I feel it's almost like I'm hyping myself up. It doesn't mean anything for me from anyone else, in my opinion, before I go into a game, and what that game means after statistically. That's just how I'm wired. Yeah. Like, I could have Debbie, Evan, my team tell me like, hey, great game, but if I didn't meet my goals, I did not have a good game in my eyes. And that's not super healthy, I feel like, all the time, because I think I went through this 2 or 3 week period where I was like, I don't understand what is going on with my play. I'm doing film, I have this routine that I'm going through every day, like I'm taking care of my body, I'm getting the right amount of sleep, and just like it's like my goals were right. Like, these are my goals, and I was right there, and I just couldn't get it. And it was so frustrating, and I was being so hard on myself. And it's just like, I described it as a slump, but I mean, my biological dad played professional baseball, and I was talking to him about that, and he was like, you can't see it as a slump.
Yeah.
You're just going through a period where you're not great.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, that might be harsh to some people, but I think I let that sink in.
Yeah. Yeah, I loosely know about the era that you're talking about in the season, and I remember us talking about it on the home broadcast one time about how those goals that you're setting, they're so high. I mean, you even mentioned in this conversation things like 12 kills in a match and 6 blocks, and it's like amazing how many times this season you've hit that. And when you think about 6, 7 blocks, which is, you probably had a dozen matches where you've done that, and you think about what that is across 3 or 4 sets, that's a very, very lofty goal. Mm-hmm. And so Brittany and I have talked a lot on ESPN broadcasts about how high of a level of performance you've set for yourself, because it's been amazing how many, especially on the blocks, the tallies have been so high. Mm-hmm. I want to end this with a chance, though. You mentioned family a lot in this, and I know your family is a big supporter of you. Mm-hmm. They're a big supporter of all of us, and I talked to Cam about this too, but I kind of want to give you a chance to give a shout out. Your mom has introduced me to a number of people just in these couple of years that are related to you, that come watch you play, to kind of break down the family support side of this as we finish.
My mom is my biggest support. Mm-hmm. Like, she, for real, has my back on everything. She has a huge framework of people that she knows everywhere. Yeah. Everywhere we go, there's someone there that knows my mom or knows me through my mom. And she just helps me mentally with all of those things I described that I was feeling in the spring. Yeah. Like, I think my dad really helps me with the logistics and my statistics, like throughout my life, like setting those goals, why I write down before, how I feel before a game, like how that makes me feel. But my mom is like the first person I hug after every game. Yeah. So I appreciate that from her.
And there's others too. You've got all, it's not just mom and dad.
It's not just mom and dad, but it is just mom and dad. Those are the people I look for after my game. So. Yeah.
Bella Ortiz, wow, what a fantastic, not even 2 full years here in Nacogdoches have been. Just been a huge blessing to all of us, and just a big part of what we're trying to do. Bella, I really appreciate it. I know we're between things, about to have lunch, but that was just a really honest interview, and I just appreciate those responses. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Thank you.